Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Hurt, Heal, Become podcast. I am your host, Monique Hollins. Listen, today I want to talk about failure. I want to talk about failure because we all fail at something. Do you understand? But I want to remind you today that failure is not fatal. Do you hear me? Failure is not fatal. Let's define the word fail, okay? Fail means to fall short of success or achievement in something expected, attempted, desired, or approved. Listen to what I'm saying. Fail forward. Please fail forward. Sis, fail forward because failure is not fatal. What are you measuring your failures by? Come on. Are you measuring your failures by what you see other people accomplishing? Come on. Then it may become fatal to you. Then you may start saying, well, you know what? That is for them. That's not for me. Yeah, I studied for the test, but I failed it. But I see other people with that same license. That's probably meaning God didn't have that for me. Whole time God is saying, I'm giving you the grace to do it. And just because you failed at it, the first attempt doesn't mean I want you to put that thing down. See, in my life, when I look back over it, come on. When I look back over it, and if I can just be very transparent, right? I went and got a real estate license back in 2017. I did real estate for a couple of years. I loved it. I experienced something that took my joy from it. I experienced an assault, right? By a man I was doing real estate with. It took my joy from it, and I was overwhelmed and gripped with fear. I didn't want to be around men. I didn't want to do open houses and be showing houses to men and being alone with men. That was just the story. That's just what it was. Do you understand? And so I stopped being a real estate agent after a couple of years because of that experience. Do you hear me? And I've healed. I've healed because, baby, guess what? I'm going back. But listen, so I stopped being an agent, but about 2020, I went back to take my test again before the license expired completely. I went back to take my test again and I failed it 3 times. Now, when I took the test the first time in 2017, do you know that I passed it the very first time? And so when I went back in 2020 to take the test again, I failed it 3 times back to back. And I was like, oh, wow, well, maybe it really wasn't meant for me to do it. Maybe that experience that I had and being assaulted by that man meant that God wanted me to put it down. And so I was just counting myself out. And I recently been hearing God say, come on. I recently been hearing God say, pick that thing back up. Just because you failed at it again doesn't mean I want you to put it down. Just because you failed at that attempt doesn't mean that's not what I have for you. Study a little bit more. Study a little bit more. Become more disciplined. Do you understand? Get some more motivation. Study the greats. Study people who are doing it. Don't measure your failure by people who are doing it and saying, well, that's for them. That's not for me. God says, find you a champion and champion after them. Do you understand? Oh my goodness. Somebody right now listening to this message wanted to give up, wants to give up, has given up, has put something down and said, well, look, I failed at that. That's not for me. Oh my goodness. It may have been a relationship. My God. God has been getting me together about relationships. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Getting me all the way together, making me become accountable for ways that I was showing out and acting my black butt in a relationship. And God was saying, look, it wasn't all on him, baby girl, that a lot of it had to do with you. A lot of it had to do with your perspective. A lot of it had to do with your immaturity. A lot of it had to do with your disobedience when I told you to do something, you didn't do it. A lot of it had to do with you. I need you to hear me and hear me clearly. Pick that thing back up. I don't know. You're listening to this and something has hit your spirit and you're like, oh my, this is a word of confirmation. Pick that thing back up. Now, you know that I'm not telling you this because I just said relationships. And sometimes women, we can be deceived by our own lustful desires. If you were in a relationship and you were being physically abused, do you understand? I'm not telling you right now, sister. God says, pick that thing back up. If you didn't ran away and you didn't got away and you were in safety, I'm not telling you that. So don't go after your lustful desires. You got to have wisdom in this thing as well. Come on. Come on, because I know I've been there where you at. I've been where you at. I'll listen to something, I'll be like, oop, yep, I was supposed to do it. Let me go back. And then all of a sudden, this person start calling and texting. And I'm like, oop, this is confirmation. I'm supposed to be there. But I need you to understand something. Use wisdom, sis. Use wisdom and pray for it if you don't have it. Pray for it above all things if you don't have it. Seriously. Seriously, we can be led astray by our own lustful desires, the desires of our heart. And God says the heart is deceivingly wicked. Who shall know it but God? Listen, this is why God says, don't lean on your own understanding. Come on. This is why the word says God's ways is higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. If you don't have wisdom, pray for it, sis. God has wisdom. He gives it out freely. As you ask, you shall receive. Do you hear me? But listen, let's get back to it. Failure is not fatal. Fail forward. Fail forward. I'm going after everything that God has for me. I'm going back after the real estate license a second time around. I'm going back after the industry and the career without fear. Do you hear me? What happened to me was not fatal because I'm still here to talk about it. I still got my right mind. I still went through my healing. I am still becoming on this day. What happened to me was not fatal. What happened to you was not fatal. You're still here. You're still pressed in. If you're listening to this message, you're locked in and you're ready for change. I know that you are, because God is not sending anybody my way that he does not have for me to give a word to. Do you hear me? I'm not speaking just to be talking. I'm not speaking just to be releasing air. I'm not speaking just to sound wise. I'm speaking for a reason. And in this season, if you are connected to me and you're receiving this word, it is for you. Failure is not fatal. Fail forward. Fail forward. What are some of the things that contribute to us failing? Here's some practical things. Come on, because everything ain't spiritual. Some things you can get through with some practical information. Here's some things that contribute to us failing is poor planning. Come on. A lack of discipline. A lack of persistence and procrastination. Come on. We all get touched by the bugs of procrastination. Oh, I got bit by the procrastination bug. Now I got to peel my way out of it. And that's all right. We all get bit by the bug of no discipline. Since we overeating, overcompensating, overplaying our part, overthinking, come on, lack of discipline. Get some discipline around your emotions. Get some discipline around your daily habits. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? And I'm telling you this right now. Anything that you want for real, anything you want for real, when you think about it, there's people who don't even have God backing them up. There's people who don't even know heaven. There's people, oh my goodness, can y'all catch this? There's people who don't even have the one true living God, the King of Kings, backing them up. And they're successful in many ways, in many industries. So you telling me that we got the God of this earth. We got the God who created the universe. We not worshiping the universe, baby. We got the God who created it, that sits outside of earthly time. We got the God whose hand created everything that we got right now going on here. We got the God of God, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, backing us up. And you telling me that we failing at one little thing and we trying to give up? Are we crazy? Oh, sis, come on. Get this word in your spirit. Failure is not fatal. Come on. Failure is not fatal. Oh my God, listen to me. Failure is not fatal. I felt like my relationship crumbled. It failed. We had too much history. We've been through too much. We put each other through too much. Oh, it was too much. God, oh my Jesus. God has resurrected something in our relationships, in our minds, and in our hearts. And guess what? It is flowing. It is not fatal. We done fell forward. Do you hear me? And it's the most beautiful fall. My God. Come on. It's been the most beautiful fall I could ever experience in this lifetime with another person. Failure is not fatal, baby. Continue to fail forward. Don't forget over here what we gonna do. We gonna hurt. Yeah, we gonna hurt. Everybody does. But we gonna heal. And guess what else? We gonna become all that God has created for us to be. I love you. Talk to you soon.